All right. We're back with another episode, but first I want to take a minute and thank all the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com. It's a complete list of the sponsors there. Go check them all out. You will not be disappointed. Couple things. I want to thank a few of them now. Gallo Technologies, Rhino Metals, Blackwater Ammunition, to name a few. Appreciate all the sponsors. BLK Water. Drink BLK Water if you haven't. I got to get rid of that chirp.
Yeah,
I was just going to say, I didn't know if we were just hearing that or not, but yeah, there's a cricket in here.
What is that?
It's your new sponsor, Cricket Wireless.
I mean, I don't even know where that's coming from.
It's like a counter.
It's like everybody commenting, right?
Yeah, I think it's like if people are chatting, it's like, I don't know, it's weird. But, this is it's a professional thing, we got here. John's setup, we've been raving about it the entire time. John's setup is fucking crazy.
I didn't even introduce you. Stop.
Oh.
Wait, let me get.
You're just staring sideways.
To everybody listening, listen, I'm going to get to the chirping in a second, but first I want to introduce my guests. I want to thank them for everything that they said last night. It was amazing. It was nothing short of amazing. I appreciate the hell out of these guys for everything they've done, everything they're doing, and what they will keep doing. It's amazing. I can't thank you guys enough. So I appreciate having you. We got the Geeks and Gamers crew. Ryan from RK Outpost, Drunk 3PO,
Hey.
and Jeremy himself from Geeks and Gamers.
What's going on, everyone? We are here. We are back. We are live in the world-famous Las Vegas studios of John Bartolo and the John Bartolo Show. We were here last night. We had a great stream. We are currently trying to find Ryan. Have not located him as of now, but we will keep you posted on that. I don't know who that person was last night.
We
but
went streaking, man.
Who?
We went streaking.
That was
That could be true. I don't really remember. There was a nasty rumor going around that, are you hungover? That's not something that happens. I don't get hungover. That does not happen, and it never will happen. But no, it was an awesome stream last night, and we talked, I think I don't remember everything, but I think I specifically talked a lot about the community and everybody, the fact that so many people are coming here. That's been the most mind-blowing moment of all of this, is seeing how people are reacting to seeing all of us together.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I'm so excited.
The story of us.
That's why I'm so excited to get to Florida.
It is. I mean, it was a really cool night. We had a lot of fun. It was very unexpected, but it's what we do, and we do it for all of you guys. Drunk 3PO was talking about his Rebellion hats and how set some records. Got a lot of sales last night, even from 9 Line, and again, that's just a testament to what we have, and nothing makes me happier than to see the individuals within Geeks and Gamers continue to be successful. But last night's stream was awesome, and we're just happy to be here, John. We appreciate everything you're doing.
No, and I wanted to give you guys a minute. Jay, I don't know if you want to add anything to it, but I'm tremendously flattered, overwhelmed. I think Ryan and Jeremy hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's great seeing all you guys, and obviously you and I had a special bond last time we were here, so it's great seeing you again.
No, I'm glad to be back.
I mean, for sure. I mean, I love having you, and I hope that this becomes more of a thing.
I think it is a thing, some kind of thing.
I think so.
It's out there.
Stay there. I want to get the camera closer to you.
I mean, we literally went through all your stuff, and we took all your bags and.
Jay was so obsessed with a bag, like he saw Jay's. There you go. Look at that. Look at that shot.
Look at that pretty face.
He's so used to just smiling. I thought the camera was frozen for a second. He's just it's like, let me show my teeth. But no, and I think Jay was telling me all this stuff that I did yesterday. I don't know if I believe him about all of it.
Ryan kissed me on the couch. That was unexpected, but
it was awkward.
OnlyFans exclusive.
Yeah, I don't.
Representation is very important to us at Geeks and Gamers.
I want to get to a few things with you guys.
And alcohol available to clean my face.
I want to get to a few things with you guys, and there's a couple questions I do have. For each of you, this has to mean something different. And I've had you all on individually, and then I love doing, roundtables like this where we get into a deeper dive. But it's nice having you all square off from each other. I just want to go around the horn and ask, what does Geeks and Gamers fulfill for you guys? Like, what do you get out of it? I mean, is it just the likes?
Money? No, I'm kidding.
What is it? I mean it from a genuine place.
No, I know. For me,
well, Ty, let me say this, because you know, Jeremy, how people are. People see the money, right? They think that's a simple thing, but they don't see the 5 years that you made no money doing it, or they see the success,
10 years.
Whatever the perception of success is. But I want you to get into what it means for you, why you stuck with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so for me, I'm a big sports fan. I've always been a big sports fan. I love the team dynamic. I love everything about that. I played a lot of sports growing up, and that whole element is important to me. So Geeks and Gamers has kind of become that whole team element where we have, everybody's going to have ups and downs when, you live life, and we all go through our ups and downs, but it seems like we all rally around each other at any given time. When one person's having a tough time or another person, we all know, like, hey, we still got this, the group of people that have our backs. But if you go back to, when I started this whole thing, it was just about creating something that could bring people together for a common goal. And that started out as video game tournaments in Montgomery, Alabama. And I've talked about that a little bit in terms of just creating bringing people together, having fun, talking shit, having this back and forth, and just wanted to create something that would resonate with people on a smaller scale in a local community, because that's all it was. It wasn't this big vision of going, I want to create this internet movement. It was just a localized thing where I could bring people together to have fun, to look forward to something once a month. One thing I've always been focused on is like goals, because back when I would work retail and I hated my job, like most everybody who works retail, I would always try to set like a vacation or something, or I would try to look forward to football season. Every week you go, man, fuck, it's Tuesday and my job sucks, but hey, man, that's a big game coming up this weekend, so it gives me something to look forward to. And I think that having something to look forward to is important. So that's kind of what it initially started out to be, where it was like, if I could set up a tournament once a month or every couple of months, then I can at least look forward to something every few months and bringing people together. Eventually that became too difficult for me to manage over the long term, because it wasn't beneficial from a financial standpoint, in terms of I was losing a lot of money and I couldn't sustain it. So then it just moved into, the Facebook group that got really big. And then I, decided to create a team, and now it is that team dynamic that I am so appreciative for, because I look around and I go, all the things that we are at Geeks and Gamers, the best part of it is that I couldn't do it right now. Like, if everybody walked away from me, I'd be fucked, but the people that are here, they believe in what we're doing. They believe in what I'm doing, and I believe in them to help us continue to get us to where we need to go. And I think that the people that support us see that dynamic, and they see that, man, Jeremy and Jay and Ryan and Tugs and all these wonderful people, they have each other's backs. They're all doing their own thing from time to time, but when it comes down to it, when the going gets tough, we all rally around each other. So I think that sense of community and having each other's back, it kind of connects with a lot of people. So that's what it means to me.
It seems like it makes you a little emotional.
Well, of course it does. I mean, again, I worked dead-end jobs to create this thing. I worked dead-end jobs knowing that they were dead-end jobs, because when I was 17, I quit high school to pursue a retail career. And before I turned 19, I was the number 2 co-manager in the store for a major retail grocery store that had over 400 or 500 stores. When I was 19, I was the youngest co-manager in the entire company of over 300 or 400 stores. So I was looking at it going, all right, at that point in time, I was doing good. I had a 1997 Z28 Camaro. I was making probably about $40,000 a year back in the 90s. Thought my life was great. I'd go into work with my shirt and tie, and I'm the young manager, and all the cashiers are like, "Oh, look, who's that? Oh, he's driving a Camaro." Like, I thought my life was made. So I worked my ass off. I worked 90 hours a week on a salary job. I just never quit working. And then because of political bullshit within the retail industry, I lost my job. Those stores closed. A lot of people lost their job, and that's when the first time I realized that it doesn't matter how hard you work in the retail industry. There's always a dumb fuck in an office that's never done the job you do that can make decisions that can fuck everything up for you. So at that point in time, I realized the corporate world will never benefit you. So I had this mentality to go, with the corporate world, use it for what you need to get out of it, benefit from it, do just enough to get by, but keep building what you're building. So my path to get to where I wanted to go took a lot longer, and I had a lot of bad jobs, and it got to a point where I moved into my 30s, and I'm like, I would kind of be embarrassed because, my daughter, and she would tell people like, oh yeah, your dad, what's your dad do? Oh, he works for a retail company. Right. I'm just like, that's embarrassing. You know what I mean? But I didn't want to put all my eggs in that basket again because I'd already seen it bite me. Right. So now that we have Geeks and Gamers and I'm in control of it, and by, extension, Ryan's in control of it and Jay is in control of it. Everybody's here is in control of it. And I don't sit there and go, hey, Tugs, you're on park hopping. Jay, you're on park hopping. And you guys are going to have to listen to my decisions. Even though you guys are in the trenches, you guys know what's going on. I'm going to sit here and tell you what to do. I learned my lesson that you can't do that. You let the people in the trenches give you the advice for what they need, and then you obviously make the ultimate decision. But you don't just make decisions for people that are in the trenches. And so everybody that's part of Geeks and Gamers has the power to control Geeks and Gamers and take it to the next level. So it means a lot to me. It really does.
A few people said, and I want to get your take on this. Why is it embarrassing? And I think what you were getting at, what your point is, it's not embarrassing. It's just when you have, you don't ever want your kids to see you suffer or see anyone to see you like in a bad spot. I don't think I think that's what you meant by it, and that's what's humbling, and that's what's hard. You don't even want, and everybody listening out there, I don't think you want even your friends to see you that way. Like, it's hard, it's humbling.
Well, again, yeah, so it's not about, this is a job that when I was young, this is a job I desired, was the retail job. I desired that. I loved what it offered me. I loved being in those stores. I loved the job that I was doing, but the corporate structure showed me that I have no control over my own destiny. Right. So when I'm at a later age in life and I haven't really expanded upon the career that I want to create for myself, I look at it going, I'm not where I want to be in my career path. So that's the embarrassing part. It's not that it's an embarrassing job, because again, it's a job that I desired at a young age. Right. It was that the path that took me on showed me that it's not a job that I have the control of my own destiny. I love the retail industry. I've honestly considered working just a day or two a week just because I miss it so much, because it's part of me, it's part of who I am. That's how I learned to lead. That's how I learned to have a team, because I used to be an overnight stock crew manager. So that's like the overnight crew. That's the ugly crew. Nobody gets to see us. We're just the ugly guys who get to clean up the mess and stock the store and make it look pretty. But that showed me how to lead people and become a leader and a delegator. And so I love the retail industry. I don't love the corporate structure of it.
Hey, I mean, Jeremy, don't let him lie to you. At the Trump Hotel, he was literally asking if he could work there. He went up to the store. He said, are you guys hired? I know there's not a sign. Are you guys hired? I want to work here so badly. Please, I want to get back into retail.
And, Ryan, I want to get to you. I know for Jeremy, there's a journey there, but you had a journey of your own with how you came to be with Geeks and Gamers and just what it means to you and what it fulfills for you. I'm sure you have your own take on it and your own way you've come to this place.
Yeah, it's crazy. Now, I've told the story a couple times. It was almost 2 years ago to the day. I think it was in July of 2019. Where Jeremy and Gary from Nerdrotic were doing a random meetup at San Diego Comic-Con. And I had been someone who had been watching their channels, but, it's not like I was like, oh, I just love Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. I was like, I watched Jeremy, and I respected him, and I wanted to meet up with him. And when I saw them there, it was awesome to just interact with them away from the camera and all that. And both of them individually were like, hey, man, you should start a YouTube channel. And I was like, I guess maybe I'll think about it. And now 2 years later, here we are. And I never once 2 years ago would have thought for a moment that I would be a part of Geeks and Gamers, have my own YouTube channel, all of these things. But once I did kind of take that leap and start the channel, I realized God, this is going to sound so lame, but I have a lot of respect for Jeremy and what he's built. I really do, and the way he handles it. We have, you guys have no idea where we want to take it from here. But just seeing and kind of hearing Jeremy tell that story, some of which I've never actually heard before, some of those details, you know, it's inspiring. And the reason I think so many people follow Geeks and Gamers and that it had the base that it has is because Jeremy truly is just a dude. He's just a guy who's in front of the camera. And it's very relatable because so many people have that same experience. And so to be a part of this and to kind of start my own thing, as well as building Sports Wars and Geeks and Gamers, it's not something I will say I was like looking for, right? It's not something that I was like, oh, I want to do this. It kind of, you know, got tossed into my lap, and I took it and I ran with it, and now I couldn't imagine my life without it at this point. And it's a testament to Jeremy and what he's built and the community that we have, and it obviously led me to you and everything we have going on here. But I guess to sum up what Geeks and Gamers means to me, it truly is. It's a community. It's a pushback against the mainstream stuff. The reason that we have people watching here, the reason we have people watching us is because they are tired of the same old thing. Just like Jeremy was talking about with the retail industry, like people are tired of the same old stuff in media, whether you're talking about sports, whether you're talking about entertainment. And that's where we're able to capitalize, because you guys in the chat are just like us. You're normal people that are tired of the same old bullshit that we know is not being reported honestly or fairly. So that's really what it means to me. It's a pushback against the mainstream, and it is just normal people doing normal things, having normal conversations.
I feel like for you, and this is an okay thing to say, I feel like you like the battle a little bit.
Oh, I love it.
And that's a good. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I love arguing with people. Jeremy does too, which is why you fight about Tim fucking Tebow every week on Sports Wars, even though he's not relevant. You know, we love arguing, and we love that. And you're right, it is a battle. We have a battle going on right now,
right.
And I am always down to roll. I really am, no matter what it is. I love arguing, whether it's with my friends or with my worst enemies. So, and we're here for the fight.
Now, I want to get to the sexiest man on the panel.
Yes.
I know you're gonna. I might get emotional. I know this means a lot to you. Where are you in all this?
As far as Geeks and Gamers,
Like, does it blow your mind that it's got to this point, and how did you get here, and what along the way? And we talked about this before. Made you realize, and I know everybody saw the hijinks last night, like, where's all, like, how is the love? Like, do you just reach across the aisle, pass a note, like, hey, Jeremy, you want to hang out tonight at 3?
no.
How does it work?
I had a YouTube channel, you know, and I just love talking about Star Wars, because Star Wars was an escape for me, because for years of my life, and I won't get into it, but I lived outside the country, and we did a lot of humanitarian work, and so coming back to our modern movies and stuff was an escape from, like, you know, having fun, the realities of the horrors that are out there. And when I started talking about Star Wars, I was being attacked by, like, people that I looked up to at Star Wars. And Jeremy came to my defense when I looked up to him, and diving into that community before I was a part of it these are people that are not afraid to speak out. These are people that are calling out the crap that we're seeing. Because for a while there, I felt alone. I was like, am I the only one that doesn't like The Last Jedi? Am I the only one that sees what's going on here? And it's amazing how many people just wouldn't speak up. They just kind of were like, I don't want to be attacked. I don't want to be canceled. I don't want to be this. I don't want to be that. And Jeremy reached out to me while I was going through some of that stuff, and just said, hey, man, I think I want you to be part of the team, and we'll find a place for you. We'll find a place for you. I just know that I want you to be part of the team. And for me to do something like that, I wanted, not only was that an honor, and he drove all the way out to see me before. He didn't call. He's like, no, I'm getting in the car. We're going to hang out, and we'll see. And for this whole thing, I wanted to be surrounded by people that would take my life to a whole nother level. People that motivated me, encouraged me, that had my back, that wasn't afraid to give me criticism when I needed it, wasn't afraid to, I didn't want to be surrounded by yes people or whatever. Anyway, so I mentioned this last night, and I'll just be quick. I really just wanted to be around. You see Ryan. I text Ryan all the time. I'm like, I want to see his numbers. I want to see what he's doing, and chasing his work ethic. I've never seen anybody work as hard as he does, as far as YouTube goes, and that's where I want to be. So it's a constant motivator to chase him, to have him in my circle, where he's constantly pushing me and telling me, no, don't do this, do that, do this, do that. And then the same thing with Jeremy. It's like having someone like that. Not saying I look down to everybody because I'm tall, but to see what he's created to motivate me. Like I said this on the other live stream, but you look at what Jeremy's done. He's got Geeks and Gamers channel, a personal channel, gaming channel, this channel, that channel, and now look at me. I have a personal channel, a gaming channel, a travel channel, and it's all because chasing that work ethic and being encouraged and motivated by these two guys. These two guys are on a show every Friday night that up to 8,000 and plus people watch, and it's like that too is motivating to be like, we can have more than one show that reaches 8,000 people. It's like it's pushing it to the next level and see where we can go, and it's very inspiring for me. And look what's become of that. Like I said, like it doesn't matter when I talk. I see the chat. Everybody's bringing up Gina Carano, but she saw that in Jeremy and Ryan, myself, and she's kind of like gravitated toward this movement where we're just not afraid anymore, and we encourage one another, and we set the bar for one another. When I came to him, I said, "Hey man, I live right next to Disney World and Universal Studios," and Jeremy was like, "I would love to do something with theme park. I love going to theme parks. I like traveling and doing all that stuff." And so like he had a place for me, and he's like, "Here you go, man. Here's the keys." And it's been like that. It's just been like that. And every now and then I'll call him and like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" He goes, "Oh, you're fine, man. Do it this way. Change this. How about this title?" But then other than that, he's like, "Here's the keys, man. Just here's the keys. Let's build this thing. Let's do something cool." And I just love that. And I know we say community over and over again, but it really is something amazing to be a part of. And it just seems like we thought we hit a level, and then we get to another level. And then we thought we hit a level, now we get to another level. I talked about these rebellion hats that I was wearing. They were supposed to be on sale for 2 weeks from 9 Line. Well, in less than 36 hours, we sold more than that they could make. So they had to take them down, and I can't promote them right now until they get more hats, I guess, in their warehouse. And they just were shocked. They called me earlier this morning. They just were like, "What is going on over there? Who are these people? What is this community that you have over there that these things sold out so quickly?"
That's a whole separate topic with how fucked up the gun industry is. That's a whole they're like, "What? There's more people than the guy in Georgia with a pitchfork?"
But it's a testament. At the end of the day, it's a testament to Jeremy, his vision, his leadership style, and what he's created for so many others. Man, I laugh. Man, when trolls and people try to peg down Jeremy or even Ryan, it's laughable because they don't see everything that's going on. They don't see what he's trying to do. They don't see their work ethic. They don't see. They think he's just like, oh, he's a guy from Alabama that turns on his camera and he just talks bad about Brie Larson or whoever or whatever. But it's so much more than that, and we could spend hours just talking about everything that Jeremy has built and put together, and I'm honored to be just a small part of it. I'm honored. I wouldn't change it for the world.
And I think one of the things that has made us so successful is the fact that Jeremy doesn't surround people say, "Oh, the Geeks and Gamers echo chamber." Jeremy doesn't surround himself with yes men. He surrounds people that are going to fucking fight with him. Like, honestly.
That is true.
And I think that is
because
a failure.
He fights for us, man.
Well, I think that's a failure when you look at a lot of, whether it's companies or YouTube channel, like whatever, when people are trying to grow things, if you surround yourself with yes men, you're going to limit yourself to everything. The only things that you think will work are the only things that you'll ever do. And that's not something that Geeks and Gamers is about. It's not something that Jeremy is about. he's stubborn and he likes his way, but at the same time, the reason he brought other people in with that same kind of attitude, that same motivation, is because he realizes the value of those different things. And that somebody like me and Jeremy fight all the time and argue about time. He'll call me up and say, I've got an idea for Geeks and Gamers. And he'll say something, I'll be like, that sounds fucking awesome. And then the next day he'll call me and say something, I say,
sounds fucking stupid.
Are you a fucking idiot?
Yep.
Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And that is how we were able to grow, because we're able to do stuff.
But if I can say one last thing and I'm done. It is
and I'm done.
What I'm saying on all that is that if you don't see anything, see that. Because so many people out there, and I say this over and over and over again, have like a passion or a determination. Maybe they want to start a YouTube channel or write a book or paint a picture or do something or do a fan film or whatever it is, because they're tired of all the crap that's out there. Surround yourself with people like Jeremy, like Ryan, that will get you to that level, because you don't want to live your whole life going back saying, man, I should have. Maybe I should have tried that. Maybe I could have done that. And don't let people on the internet, especially on Twitter or anything else, try to tell you that you can't do it. These people are so negative and jealous, and they just want to pull people down, especially if they have different of opinions, if they're not in that same old echo chamber, and they don't want you to speak out. They don't want you. Listen, I was fighting with someone on Twitter just the other day who was complaining about independent people writing books. He's like, independent people shouldn't write books because you're going to hurt the professional writers. I was like, what the heck? This is what this is all about. This is what the rebellion is all about. This is what all this is all about, is that you have something inside of you, whatever it is, and the world is waiting for it. The world will be a better place if you just let it fly, man. But you got to surround yourself with the right people to get it going. And for me, I know I wouldn't be where I'm at, whatever, on YouTube or wherever, if it wasn't for these two gentlemen next to me. And I tell them that all the time, and Jeremy's like, shut the hell up, Jay. I'm sick of you saying that crap all the time. But it truly is. So, all right, I'm done.
That's from the heart. It's genuine. And I do want to thank everybody that sends the super chats in. And I just want to say, I know in the intro we were fucking around too much and it got weird, but for you guys, what I always saw, and you guys put a lot of praise my way, I just saw a group of guys and gals that were on to something. In my industry, just so everybody listening understands, we're constantly looking for the enemy of my enemy is my friend type of scenario, and we're trying to surround ourselves with what Jay's speaking to, which is like-minded people that are willing to have a conversation, can agree to disagree, can support each other either way, and everything in between, and just create an environment that allows you to be the most creative you can be. So it was an easy thing. Finding Ryan, it wasn't about finding Ryan first or anything. It was just seeing the energy and the passion and how it all tied in made a lot of sense to me. And I think, it makes a lot of sense to you guys. And I hope my audience just understands we need to find voices like this that want to be independent and want to be heard and are willing to put themselves out there and support those voices. And that's why I say to your audience and to everybody, every little bit matters. Every little share, every little thumbs up. I do my best to build an audience, and it's great to have great guests, but you guys do truly have something special in the community, and I can see in its own way it gets each of you emotional.
Well, I mean, I wanted to talk a little bit about, they talking about the lack of echo chamber that we have, because, I've always been a big believer in, if you can have people that can challenge your ideas, it makes you have to really look into your idea and see how much you believe in it. So if I come to Ryan or Jay or someone on the team and I say, hey, I'm thinking about doing X, Y, and Z. And if they go, man, that's a great idea, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, all right, cool. Well, if I'm not going to get any challenge on that, then I can assume that it's a good idea. But what happens if I go to them and I'm like, oh, fuck, well, here's why this is not a good idea for these 3 reasons. And I'm like, okay, and at that moment when I'm challenged, then I have to go, okay, how strongly do I feel about the idea? And if I come back and go, well, okay, to your points about this is why I feel that it's still a good idea.
Right.
Or I'm going to go, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, let's back off of that because it challenges the idea. If you get challenged by your peers, then you have to challenge your own idea and see how much am I committed to that idea. And so that's why it's important to have people that are going to do that. Like, as much as I love the prequels and I love George Lucas's vision for the prequels, I think we can all admit that he was not challenged on those movies. Like, he was such a powerful and intimidating person. His ideas were not challenged by anyone. He had a lot of yes men around him, and a lot of the ideas that should have been challenged weren't, because he was surrounding himself with people that were not going to challenge him. And I think that the movies suffered for that, even though I like them. And I think that's a good example of how, if you have people that can hold you accountable for your ideas, hey, maybe Jar Jar shouldn't step in poop for no reason whatsoever, George. That's really not helpful. Hey, there's just a ton of reasons you can go through it, but being challenged on your ideas is important, and you have to have a certain mentality to do that. Like a lot of the people that go against us, they don't have what it takes to have people that can challenge their ideas. They want their ideas reinforced to them. They don't want their ideas challenged. I want my ideas challenged because it makes me have to realize how committed to this idea am I now, because someone's come back at me.
But you know
that's
what?
The important
you also
part.
don't want many yous. You don't want all of us to act like.
Hell
so
no.
Like, me, Jerry,
Yeah.
and Ryan can do a video on the same topic, and you will get 3 different You will get 3 different videos on a topic. You know, it's just like, I'm not Ryan. I'm not going to scream. I'm not Jeremy. I'm not going to do the way he does things, and I'm going to do the way I do things, and that's the beauty of what we have going on here.
Authenticity, I've said a lot, like authenticity is key to what we're doing, because the reason so many other people are failing right now is because people don't want to watch fake stuff. They don't want to watch CNN. They don't want to watch, in a big way, they don't want to things like Fox News, because they do feel like it's kind of just inauthentic, and it's presented a certain way.
But let me ask you guys this: why do they? You know what I mean? In your opinion, like what still makes them still put on? Like, I have my own misgivings with Fox News. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, why do people still tune in? Is it the anointing of false gods? What is it? Just habit?
I think you look at these things and you realize that the traditional form of entertainment is starting to crumble. It truly is. That's why we have things like on YouTube, where now they're promoting authoritative sources and things like that, because they are trying to get into the YouTube game, because they realize that people just turning on their cable box and switching to channel 265, going to watch Fox News or CNN or whatever. That's ending. People are searching for different forms of whether they're getting their news, whether they're getting entertainment, and I think that is why people are attracted to what we have going on, and they're flocking to us, and you guys are watching this because you are more in touch with us. We are just people. Jay has a different experience than I do, a different experience than Jeremy does, but we are going to give you our 100% legitimate, genuine take, because that's what this form of entertainment, I suppose, if you want to call it that, is all about. It's about our genuine reactions to things. Yeah. And as soon as we become not genuine, people are going to click off, because they can sense that shit in a second.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And Jay, I know this is something that you're passionate about. Having that other voice, or that contrarian view, you know what? It's so important.
Of the world?
Yeah, just having an outside of the box view is so important. We talked a lot about this when we did our show. And I think, why is that missing today?
People don't travel or see and the news doesn't really report everything that's going on around the world. Right. I thought, like, and listen, I'm not going to derail the conversation, but the Haitian president was assassinated in Haiti not too long ago, and people know that I basically lived there for years, and I'm like, why didn't that make? It's like it just came and went. That's a huge event that sent shockwaves through the Caribbean, and it just didn't. Nobody cared. You know what I mean? And so then, for me, you have CNN that says the most outrageous things, and then you have Fox News that tries to counter those outrageous things. And so it's like, now they're just fighting, and they're not really giving honest takes. It's more like honest takes about that, about each other. And again, Ryan is absolutely correct. But when you travel, like, I remember. All right, real quick. I remember the whole thing about, there was a time where people were like, don't travel to other countries because they hate Americans. Be careful. Don't wear the American flag or anything. There was, I think George Bush was in office or something like that. And the Iraq War was happening, and people are like, "Oh, everyone's mad at Americans and everything. Don't go." It was the furthest thing from the truth. I visited about 17 countries during that time, and people just loved us. People were wearing the American flag on their shirts to welcome us. I mean, and all the stuff that we were doing over there, and you just see this crazy bias of trying to keep everyone afraid of everything. And so if we're afraid, again, like people are like, I would never go to Hayes Danger. So I've been there for years, nothing's happened to me. Or I've been to China 6 times. Nothing's happened to me. None of that stuff, all this fear-mongering that's going on. You come back to the States and everyone's afraid. Everyone's afraid of this. Everyone's afraid of that. I mean, my God, man, we were supposed to have like killer bees invade America, murder hornets or whatever, and kill us all. So everyone was freaking out about that, and it's like, no, man, we can't live like that anymore. And that's the thing with Jeremy and Ryan. It's like who they are on YouTube is who they are in person. They ain't afraid. They ain't afraid to tell it like it is, or live their lives, and that's the same way with me. It's like I'm not gonna live in this box of fear where we're just stuck in our homes, afraid of everything. I'm afraid to pursue my dreams. What if people laugh at me? People are gonna laugh at you. People are gonna laugh at you if you're a billionaire. People are gonna laugh at you if you're a billionaire running for president. People are gonna laugh at you no matter what. I'm going to start a YouTube channel, but I hate the way I look. People are going to hate the way you look, even if you look absolutely perfect. That's just how it is.
Jay is confirmation of that. He is perfect, and they still hate on him.
He got to laugh.
What the fuck is that's good.
That was good.
But yeah, but it's just how it is. It's like this whole go into some of the countries, man, their biggest fear is what are they going to eat the next day? So they ain't got time for all this crazy stuff that's happening right now in America.
They're not making TikTok videos about the 87th type of sexuality or whatever and how oppressed they are.
No, not
even close. I think what exacerbates all that, it's easy to dive into things like cancel culture and other things, but I think what you're getting at, and I think what society's become is almost like you have to apologize for everything. We were talking about this a little bit. Like, it's like you have to be an apologist for breathing. You know what I mean? You can't do anything today without having some apology in your back pocket. I mean, look at the John Cena incident as a perfect example. It's like he immediately has to walk back. Oh my God, if I offended somebody somewhere, geez, like.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, how dare you say a fact?
Yeah.
By the way, Taiwan is a country. Those are my words. Just saying it. But the fact that he felt the need, and probably the studios at the end of the day felt the need to have John Cena go out there and lick the boots of anyone he possibly could to not offend China because of the box office. And that's what this is so getting in entertainment.
You should have stopped it at the box.
At the box. But people are so obsessed about finding, we got to break into this market. We got to break into this market. We got to break into this market. The Chinese box office is what it's all about. And they will abandon each and every one of their actual hardcore fans to get it done. And that's not something we give a fuck about. We want to be us, and we want to be true to what Geeks and Gamers is for you guys.
Well, and again, we've talked about it a lot, and I think that the best example of any major company or organization or entity is the UFC. And it's because of how Dana White's running it. And I find a lot of inspiration in that because of there is 95% of everything that we talk about on the channel and complain about, all of it is calling out the hypocrisy. I can sit here and tell you I am not offended by anything that a Hollywood actor has said. I'm offended by the fact that there is an echo chamber and a double standard and a level of hypocrisy. That's my problem with it. People like me and Ryan and Jay and people at Geeks and Gamers, we don't give a fuck what anybody says. We don't care what your opinions are. But the fact is Brie Larson can sit up there and say that a Disney movie, she literally said was not made for 40-year-old white dudes. She can say that, but you can't say that about any other race or gender, period, or you will be canceled in Hollywood. That's our inherent problem with it. So Dana White's whole mentality is you can be pro-BLM. You can also be pro-MAGA. And we'll let the chips fall where they may. I'm not going to restrict what our fighters say and our athletes say. And that is how I think it should all be. Leave it up to the democracy of the fan base.
And I do think he's totally on to something with that whole approach of the separation of church and state, so to speak, between not only what you'd call his employees, but the ability to let people have their own voice has allowed the UFC to flourish. If we're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, and the, just in your own life, to stand your ground in terms of your feelings, your opinions, whether you're pro-vaccination, anti-vaccination, whether you're this, whether you're that, and be able to back that up with a solid argument that represents you in the best way and your family in the best way. That's what it's all about. At the end of the day, it's all about being able to say, I don't agree with this. Unfortunately, and I think what you guys bring out in your own, even in your own community, is we've entered this realm where, like I've said to each of you individually, where it's not just beat them, it's put them down, destroy them, cancel them, and bury them into the ground. And we saw that play out even so much with Gina, with that situation. And where had this begun? Where did this start? What has got us to this place that literally we are at the point where we demand perfection out of everybody, and anytime somebody steps out in any way, shape, or form that the mob doesn't agree with, we have to tear it apart. I watched a good documentary, Jay. You're into this stuff. I know you are. It was Woodstock '99 on the whole breakdown of the Woodstock rally, and I think it's on Prime, whatever it's on.
Yeah,
go check it out. HBO Max.
It's on Max. The documentary.
It's a really good documentary, and they talk about that time in the universe when Limp Bizkit got on stage, and they break this whole thing down. And there is truth to what there's 100%. Regardless of what everybody thinks about the documentary, the country was at an unrest, in that they identify that for the sake of the documentary as the pivotal turning point, as the time when it happens. How did we get here? What was the moment?
I don't know if there's a single moment. Ryan, go. You're about to say something.
I would just say it seems like we talk about kind of the pot of boiling water and the frog inside it. It seems like in the past several years it's been just ramped up so high, and finally all of us are realizing what's been going on. We're looking back at the past decade and we're like, this is insane.
Someday, I agree with you, but what I'm getting at, and I know what Jay's going to touch on, is if they were to make a documentary 20 years from now, when are they going to say the point was?
I think it started in our education system, and they indoctrinated a lot of college students. College students grew up a little bit and got into our entertainment industry, and now it's just infected into everything. And the cancel culture mentality is, hey, if they don't agree with us, let's just take them out. Let's just take them out. Let's dig up something. I think that one of the best things was Kevin Hart when he got canceled from the Oscars. That wasn't the best thing that he got canceled, but Kevin Hart came out and was like, wow, you tried to cancel me from a 9-year-old tweet, but you didn't take that same energy, and look how I've changed as a person through those 9 years. That shows like where they're at. It was beautiful. And then they were like, well, you can come back and do it. He's like, no, I'm good. I'm good. But it just seems like this whole thing is just power, control, fear. And it's like, if we can keep everyone afraid, we'll start them when they're young and then work our way through. It's devastating of a fear control kind of thing. And it's sad that we've got now. What happens is people are starting to recognize it when it's infecting things that they love. For many people, it was Star Wars. We saw Star Wars and we were like, what the heck is this? And that for a lot of people, that was a lot of people's wake-up call to what's going on with this propaganda agenda driven push things. But for others, they kind of knew. They were like, oh man, I was in college and they're teaching all this crazy stuff and I don't know. And so it just kind of, once it hits something that people are really passionate about, it seems like the light bulb goes off. So
well, Jay mentioned it earlier about how, in the mid 2000s, like, oh, everyone hates America. Be careful when you're traveling. It is a constant state of fear mongering. We obviously know what it's all about now. It's all about the coof. It's all about get your jab, cover your face, all this bullshit. And you mentioned it earlier about the people not being able to have this conversation anymore. I do not care. Whatever you choose to do, whether you get the jab, whether you don't, whether you want to wear a mask, whatever, like that's up to you. Like, it's not my place to be like, oh, whatever, like cancel you because you have this opinion. But at the same time, we all have reasons why we want to do what we want to do for us. And Jay's talking about it starting in colleges. It is everywhere, this level of control. You know what? We're going to lock you guys down. You can't go to the gym. You can't do the one thing that will definitely make you a healthier person, but you can go to McDonald's because that's essential. Yeah. And it's the people in power, the people that are in control, want to keep their control so desperately, and they will do anything they can to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's, and I talked about this when I was on your show the other day, John, but I do want to go a little bit further back, just a tad, but I think a lot of the problems we're dealing with right now, bad parenting, lack of parents, lack of having a strong foundation at home. And now these people these kids that don't have a strong foundation at home are being basically indoctrinated or led to believe things that the mainstream wants to tell them.
But when they make the documentary, and if you guys were directing it, what's the moment?
Obama. Like, that's the moment that you focus in on where everything started to shift. He's not the thing that created it, but he's the moment that elevated it to the next level. But then Trump is the one that broke them. Like, so, I mean, these are the things that had the significant impacts. So Obama's election is where the beginning of the end started to happen. That's where the elements started to begin. But it didn't start really becoming prominent until the final 2 years of his presidency. And then that resulted in the fact that Donald Trump has a better chance, and I've said this before, and this is how broken our political system is, but this is a fact. Donald Trump, prior to 2016, Donald Trump had a better chance to become the president of the United States than to be cast as Batman, because we have a higher standard to who plays Batman than we do who runs our entire country. Wow. That's a fact. Look what happened when Ben Affleck was cast as Batman. The fucking internet had a goddamn meltdown beyond belief. And he turned out to be really good. I don't like him personally, but I like Ben Affleck as an actor, but that's another discussion. But the point is that Trump was able to become the president of the United States, and again, I'm a big Donald Trump supporter, but the point is that the political system is broken. Why did Bill Clinton get elected? Because he played a saxophone on Arsenio Hall and he had sunglasses and he was cool. Why did George Bush get elected? Because he was the type of guy you could have a beer with and he had the family name to go along with it. Obama got elected because why? Was it because of his community organizer greatness? Or was it his one-term senator? Or was it the fact that he started to hit the identity politics checkmark boxes? He was a phenomenal speaker and he had a great charisma about him, and he's who the media wanted. And he blew people's minds, and people were so dejected from the Bush administration. Then Obama started to push the identity politics shit in his second term. And he's a smart guy, and he's manipulative, and he knows what he was doing. And all of that nonsense about police shootings and reacting to bad information, Obama was coming out there putting an anti-police message out there before any facts were out. And then that started to create all of these uprisings and all of these anti-police sentiments. And then people started to get frustrated. And then Donald Trump comes in and completely blows their minds. They were so dejected and they went so insane because Trump became president, and he didn't give a fuck about their feelings. He didn't give a fuck about anything because he's Donald Trump. And so, but I think that the Obama presidency was the central point that we can point to say, no, it didn't start everything. It's what really pushed and elevated everything to the next level.
I think you're kind of spot on with that, because when you look at how the media has treated people, yeah, they literally treated him like a rock star. Regardless of what you think about him, they treated him like a rock star.
Megastar.
And they supported him. They wouldn't question him in a lot of different ways. Saturday Night Live, they never took a shot at him, ever. You know what I mean? Like the
talking about Obama?
Yeah, involving Obama. Like, they weren't funny. They never took any actual shot. People were, supporting him. They weren't criticizing him for certain reasons. And then I think you're right, Jeremy. They got so used to this, and whether it's the media or whatever, of like having their guy in power. When 2016 happened and it completely flipped the narrative, they were like, we can never let this happen again.
It broke
and
them.
now we're seeing that with Hollywood. That's why since 2016, there has been this massive push, because they're like, we can't let this happen again, because they lost control for a little while.
But you know what? They treated Trump like a rock star before he ran for president. They invited him to everything.
He was a rock star. Yeah.
I mean, from Jesse Jackson, everybody got pictures with him wherever he went. So, for years,
I think, if I'm directing it, and and I'm pegging a time that we saw this rise.
Could be rules for radicals, man.
So, yeah, I mean, if I'm directing a documentary, I think around 2004, 2005 would be the time, because I believe that that's the time when Facebook and the social media that we know today, the lay of the land the last 15 years, was the path was laid out, 2004, 2005. It's a critical moment for me because I was just wrapping up college, and it was like MySpace, and then like Facebook became this thing. And it was obviously the better delivery system for social media at the time. It was the prominent one. And then Instagram comes in, Twitter, and everything else. And I point to that time because that was the moment in time when everybody started to give a shit about what everybody else was doing. Mm-hmm. And the reason I bring up that particular moment, nobody cared what Jeremy ate for lunch in 2003.
Right.
Now they do.
Right.
Because we've given people so much access to so much of us, and we've opened ourselves up to such criticism that we've reached a point in society now, 15 years later, where what we love more than anything as human fucking beings in the universe is we love to say, my life is better because his is worse.
Yeah.
And one of the things I love about guys like Jay and everything is they have an infectious positive attitude that they want to get back exactly what they put into the universe, but they want to put all this great and good, and you never see the dude not smiling or not happy in some way, shape, or form. And that's a testament to who he is. But unfortunately, somewhere along the way, and I think social media did this to some people, we started to give a shit about what Susie down the street has. Little Billy got a bike and I didn't.
Freaking little Billy.
It's all that stuff. And I think when the documentary's made, whether you want to call it Woodstock 99, I think they're going to call it the social. And at some point, the bubble will pop. I'm telling you right now, at some point, the bubble will pop. And I think we're getting to the other side of it because as I've talked to all of you individually, when you have guys like Bill Maher starting to come forward and say, what the fuck is going on? Like, who's next?
Yep.
Literally, society should be transferred to a ringside banner in a WCW Nitro match. It should be like, who's next? Like, and it's not just about canceling. It's about how can we impose our will on this person?
Yeah. Yeah.
So literally, we fear a boogeyman like Michael Myers. We're in the worst horror movie ever. But it's, and we can't, the only way out and the only way to fix it will never happen. Everybody has to look in the mirror and say, my life's as fucked up as yours. And I'm okay with it.
Well, I think we have and again, I agree with everything you're saying. Social media is a disaster. And what social media has done is before.
Who cares what your cousin does or has? Like, who cares?
But before social media, if you wanted to have your voice out there and have your voice be heard, it took hard work and dedication and motivation to build that platform to get you to a place where your voice could be heard. Now, the laziest of lazies can have their voice heard by simply picking up their phone and signing into their account and then claiming to be whatever type of victim they want to be. So it doesn't matter. There's no work involved with getting the platform that you need to be heard. So now everybody, including the losers in life that don't want to do anything other than be professional victims, have that platform now. And that's what's unfortunate about it.
If there's a positive, it's people that would find the reason why like movie critics hate us, professional writers hate us, is because now we've built a platform where they want to hear your opinion on movies. They want to hear, you know what I mean? Like you can't go to a professional movie critic because people don't want to hear it because now it's like it's probably fake. They're probably bought off or whatever. But I can listen to what Ryan has to say about a movie that came out or whatever and get his honest take on it. I can hear what Jeremy has to say, and then it's a little more genuine. And social media has, for that aspect, I think that's some of the positives. But you're right. It's really taken a nasty turn where it doesn't. Again, put out any picture and people will criticize it.
Yep.
It's just like, but that's it. Just comes hand in hand now. just can't be afraid to basically the old saying is smile, it drives people crazy. Be happy, it makes people crazy. So, it's how it is.
Yeah, social media is giving everyone a voice, and that's a great thing for some people, and for others, sometimes it cannot be. It's a great thing, and it's also a fucking terrible thing.
The genie's out of the bottle. We're here.
Exactly. But the thing is, the reason why social media is a problem is because every single major social media network is run by people that all think the same way.
Well,
they only want you to think the same way. That's why it's really a problem.
I'm just saying, if we're directing the documentary, I see that as the catalyst. That's the Limp Bizkit moment, if you will, of like when it started to turn, in my opinion. Because caring about what other people do when it doesn't affect your life, your paycheck, your family, is insane. I can guarantee you social media has contributed to more bankruptcies, more broken marriages, and more freaking busted.
Yeah, you know what else has contributed to?
Well, go ahead. I know what you're going to say, but I was going
to, kids killing themselves because they, Instagram, when you post, for example, you post on Instagram, the majority of people post their best. It's like, look where I'm at. Look how I'm living.
Like
look at the car
it's a living resume.
Look where, but it's like your best. Like, let's go through the filters. Let's take out the wrinkles. Let's just show the very best. And so when, being a school teacher, it's like these young people see that from others, and they're just like, man, I'll never have that life. What's the point of living? Or I'll never have, and it has become so dangerous for some that can't. I don't know what the right word is, so forgive me if it's coming off wrong, but they just mentally can't handle social media. I don't know if that makes sense because they see others like with such a great life, but is it really such a great life, or it's just a great picture? And it's like, I'll never have that. Or they see these people that were invited to a party and they weren't invited, and they were just like, wow, then I guess I'm a loser, I'm a nobody because they didn't invite me. I see everybody having fun, but they don't want me around, so what's the point of living? We have like this group of young people living with no value. They feel like they have no value in life, and it's the complete opposite. Because in my opinion, and I believe this with everything in my heart, everybody has value. Everybody has a place. The reason why you were born was specific. You were born to do something to make the world better. I don't know what it is, but you were born to do something. And if they can steal that from you, if someone can steal that from you, with a lie or with, whatever it is, then the world suffers. And we're seeing a lot of that today. We're seeing a lot of people that had passions, especially young people, to do certain things, but they've either been manipulated or brainwashed or just feel like they have no value and they don't contribute anymore. And you end up with what we have here, with suicide rates off the chart, depression, all these things, especially coming out from young people. It's very hard to see.
Well, I think you're absolutely right, and I'm glad you brought that up. But I think the numbers are overwhelmingly in that direction in terms of suicide, just crappy stuff that happens. And there is good. Communities like this wouldn't be built. So I'm not saying that moment in time is the moment in time that something went bad necessarily. I just felt it was the moment in time when people started to care about things they really shouldn't care about.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what was going on.
Yeah.
Now, there's a lot of good that came out of social media in terms of community building and everything else. That's no question. And there'll be a movie or a documentary written about the good, just like there would about anything. You can always get two sides of it, you hope, right? But I feel like at that moment, when we started to care about what other people do, and I'm glad Jay brought it up, was when we started to get into this, like, they have, therefore I don't. Instead of like, I want to work harder to become something. And looking at someone, we don't look at people anymore with that, like, I want to get there. I want to be just like that person. Because we get such an insight into them. Like, if you just saw LeBron James play basketball and you never heard him talk, you'd think he was a pretty good freaking basketball player and you might want to mimic him on the court. But now, if you might take into account that he is outspoken about whatever it is. And because of that, you'll take a jump shot and say Jordan, not LeBron. You see what I'm saying? As a kid.
Kobe.
Because you've been affected by that look that we got only granted to us by social media.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and we don't like what we see.
Yeah, because it's It's always about one side, right?
Yeah.
As soon as if you had an athlete, if you have an athlete who decides, oh, I want to come out as a Trump supporter, or maybe I don't want to kneel with all these other players during the national anthem, they get eviscerated. They get eviscerated because that is not allowed. You have to conform to the narrative. And LeBron James, if you're going to let LeBron James get on his soapbox, say that he's being hunted in the streets, perpetuate fake hate crime narratives, right? Then you have to allow the other side to speak. But that's not what's going on right now, and that is the hypocrisy.
I want to say something though, but it's even worse than that. That's like you just spoon-fed an answer to the audience. Yeah. The bigger fucking issue, like, Hunter Biden just came out with a video that he's literally snorting lines on the side of a fucking bed with a Russian hooker, and he believes Russians took his laptop. And on what planet is that normal?
In Joe Biden's America?
On what planet is that normal? So what I'm saying is, forget about LeBron maybe feeling like, his cat should have a dick or something. I don't know. Or whatever the fuck, is going through his head. I could live with that. I could even still think he's a good basketball player and separate that a little bit because I'm a reasonable human. But when I see stuff in society like the Hunter Biden situation, and I know, and I'm not trying to make this a Trump, Biden, this, that, it doesn't matter your political beliefs. If I did that, I'd be ashamed.
The thing, it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, what the media is doing, the fact that they would not let this happen again. They would not let 2016 happen again. They won't even
report it.
And exactly. So they're not going to talk about it. You're going to have Chris Cuomo on there cracking jokes with some fuck who's resigning now, who's responsible for a lot of deaths, who's done all these different things. Believe all women until one of them says something against someone we like, then don't. And what's going on with Cuomo and his brother at CNN is insane. And it's... It is impossible to hide from
weird.
That.
They're just so... Who watches that?
Nobody. That's
like, who's
nobody.
watching? Like, last night I purposely switched to Don Lemon for a minute because I talked about him and I felt a little bad. I had a little remorse. But the other day, and I purposely switched it. I'm like, who's watching this?
Well, they're birds of a feather because, obviously Andrew Cuomo groped a lot of women. Don Lemon does the same thing to men. So birds of a feather over there at CNN. But that's what this comes. The reason the media is not reporting that, and the reason, imagine that had been one of Donald Trump's sons. You know what I mean? We saw all this happen in 2016. The different stories that came out. It's because it was on a certain side of the political aisle. That is why people can't trust these motherfuckers anymore. Like that. That's why they cannot trust them. That's why they're watching us, John.
The border cages. Where did that story?
Jeez. Yeah,
who built the cages, Joe?
And you're right, Jay. Like, there's stuff going on. So somewhere along the way, because we started giving a shit about these mundane things, and we became very susceptible to the injection of whatever thoughts, coming to Jay's point with the educational system, whatever thoughts that wanted to be injected into the conversation, into society, because they had all these fingers, all these veins through social media and all these different avenues through YouTube and through all these different things. So what is so troubling to me is where it's going to go, because it's just so upside down and on its head that if we were to sit here for 3 hours with a dry erase board and try to write it up, I don't know the way back. And I have to ask the most optimistic guy in the room, what's the way back? How do we get back?
Was you talking to me, most optimistic
guy?
No,
I'm talking to this guy.
Got it.
How do we get back? Because you sometimes seem like the most reasonable guy in the room. How do we get back?
I feel with...
Because I want to leave people with hope. I want them to walk away from this with like...
I'm at the age now, my birthday is in 2 weeks, and getting older. I feel with the platform and the community that Jeremy has given and built, with me included, and with Ryan and these people, it's that I hope what they see in my life in these next 10 years, me trying to write, I'm not an author, I can't even do good grammar on Twitter, writing a book, traveling, hiking, doing these things for the very first time in my life, going to places and filming it and meeting people and encouraging, I hope it encourages some young person out there that'll just be the spark to change something. I don't think there's a big boom moment that will flip everything back. But if if these people can brainwash our kids or others or adults or whatever, then maybe we can be the spark that flips the switch back to what the human, like who we are as people, as explorers, being creative, having dreams, having ideas, having conversations, disagreements, helping others. Imagine, I sit back and look, and I say, and sorry, I get a little emotional, but you look at all the money, time, promotion that they're putting into this mask up lockdown. If they did that to help people that were homeless because they lost a job, or people that were freaking hungry, 17,000 people die every day from starvation. 17,000. Is that not a pandemic? 17,000. You can look it up. And like all this money we're putting into canceling people and this whole, it's just like, do you really care about people? Like, just get some rice to people, for crying out loud. I mean, listen, it's just, I've seen it all over the world. And it's like, I just hope people get inspired by Jeremy speaking up, by Ryan telling it like, I really do. I really do. By this thing that we're creating at Geeks and Gamers and all that we're all doing. I just hope people can get inspired and something will flip where a spark will just light up inside them and they'll just want to be the change. I think it's individuals changing a few people around them will change the whole world. I think I think that's how it is. I don't think there can be like one person. I think others that others can inspire others, but I don't think one person can stand and just change it all. I think it's individuals helping their neighbor or whatever, inspire them to be something that I know that's inside of them. Anyway, that's it. I didn't mean to get all freaking deep like that.
I wrote it down because I think you just found your next shirt. Change people around you.
Yeah.
Well, the answer to that question, how do we change it? How do things change? We do exactly what we're doing right now. Yep. Literally exactly what we're doing right now is sitting here talking, not being afraid, putting our opinions out there unabashedly, saying exactly what we think, regardless of whether it disrupts their narrative, regardless if they want to hear it or not. They can be as mad as they want. These blue check marks on Twitter can come after us. They can say, oh, they shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be talking like that. It doesn't matter, because what we're saying, the reason it's resonating with people is because a lot of other people feel that same way. So the way that we change, the way that the pendulum swings back, is we continue to do exactly what we're doing, expose these people, and do it ourselves, right? Like we will talk about movies, we will talk about politics, we will do these things.
But that's where I disagree with you, Ryan. Like, it's not even worth exposing them. Like, it's just the way it works is like to move past it and just like Jay said, like kind of accept where people are, but offer. Because I feel like if we stoop to their level of bullshit, we get caught in a rut.
Well, by exposing, what I mean is just continue to show that what we're doing.
Right. Like what fake. I'm saying is I'd much rather.
I'm not talking about canceling
one of your
these
listeners
people.
or mine. I'd rather them smash the like button 3 more times on our shit than worry about what's going on down the street and feel like we're threatening them. I'd rather that the extra likes come our way than them.
I think there is a certain value though in calling them out, right. Because no one else is doing it.
Right. I hear that. The accountability piece.
Yes,
I hear that.
And that's how you build that audience. That's how if I would have never started to call Disney Star Wars out and Rian Johnson and Kathleen Kennedy for their bullshit, then I wouldn't have the audience I have.
Sure.
And so, I think people find a true connection to that when you're calling out the bullshit. But then you got to do more than just call it out. You gotta actually create something and support things that are being created that are counter to the things that you're upset about. But to answer the question of what people can do, I mean, so Jay and Ryan both have amazing answers. So I'm going to take a different turn on that. and I'll be more of my D-Day Cobra channel right now, and I'll just say it's real simple. Support Donald Trump and every candidate that he is promoting right now, and support Ron DeSantis. Support people that are standing up against the stuff. Like, support them, because that is truly the thing. Like, you have to look at what they fear the most. Right now, if you look at what they fear the most, they fear Donald Trump and Ron DeSantis. Why? Because those guys threaten every fucking thing that they're trying to create. And yeah, it's political. It's absolutely political. And they are playing they will play dirtier. They just will. I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I obviously feel that conservative values are far more beneficial based on the climate we're in right now. And so that is truly the simplest way to just, like, there's a lot of complicated answers as to what we can do. But if I'm giving you the simplest answer, in my humble opinion, it's to support whatever Donald Trump is trying to accomplish right now and the candidates that he is continuing to support, because I believe he's trying to build up a foundation that can stand against it. And yeah, he made some mistakes. He probably should have recognized what he was facing a little sooner. In a lot of ways, I think he did, and in a lot of ways he didn't. And he had his opportunities to kind of, truly drain the swamp, and he didn't. He didn't. Now, again, that's me Monday morning quarterbacking, because I'm sure it was very complicated. We're talking about politics. We're talking about horrible people. And when they're desperate, they will do desperate things. And so it's a very disgusting, world there in Washington. But if my simple answer is support Donald Trump, support everything he's doing, support the candidates that he is standing with, and we'll see what happens in 2024. Which is a long way away, but we got 2022 coming up, which they're kind of building towards, and that's to kind of build that foundation, and then we go to the next step. Right. That's the simple answer I can give everybody, along with what Jay and Ryan both said, because they were both fantastic answers.
And I'll add my answer, which I'll put a layer on it. I think that for this to turn, for it to get, and I'm going to say something that I think will tie into my whole, if I was directing the documentary theory, our approach to this answer. We have not had, on our side of the house, our Greta Thunberg moment. We have not had that moment where the child will lead us. We have not had that moment yet. And I feel like for the extreme left and for the factions that have grown and what we've come to, that extreme side, they had their Greta Thunberg moment, where everybody else had to begin apologizing because a little girl told us we had to. We had to start being sorry because a little girl told us we had to. And they knew what they were doing. Mm-hmm. That was PR. They knew we could not deny a little girl. We could not deny her. And everybody kind of acquiesced a little bit. And everybody acquiesced in all phases of their life. And that was a starting point. That was a catalyst. They had a Greta Thunberg moment. We have not had that watershed moment. Yeah, you have great groups, you guys, Charlie Kirk, things that are going on, Daily Wire. We have great factions. But we have not had a Greta Thunberg moment. And I think the border could be that moment. So to everybody listening, watching, paying attention, how long is it going to be before a child stands up and says, I came in under Biden, and we know it's happening. Not only did I get COVID and broke my legs crossing the Rio Grande, and I had to ride a coyote here and get pimped out, but here's where I am 4 years later, or 3 years later, or 2 years later. And until that happens, in my documentary, it's not done.
You talk about like the turning point or the turning moment. I think it is turning. Like, you see the accelerations and how much crazier it's getting and how people do see these people as a joke. It's because it's getting worse and worse because they are scared, because they realize they're losing. So I think in a way the turning point is already happened. You say that all the time, John, about cancel culture or whatever, that you think it's very close to, getting past that. And I agree, because the way these people are reacting, they realize that they are losing their grasp of power.
And I want to answer everybody that's talking. It's not about sinking to their level. To that point, we have not had that watershed moment, that rally cry. You guys saw it in a pocket and how successful it was for you at Gina. You need that national rallying cry. It's not about stooping to anybody's level, but I think the border can be that, because I think more than 50% of us in this country can agree that the border is fucked up.
Yeah.
That's a safe bet, right?
Very fucked up.
I mean, Jay, you're a humanitarian to the max. Is that not a fair assumption?
It's more than 50%. Absolutely. Listen, there are people in other countries that ask me questions when I go. They're just like, is it true? Is it true that they hand out gold when you cross the border? And it's just like, no, it's not. I don't know where you're getting that, but
I mean, it's not far off. It's not far off. It's not actual gold, but it's a lot of other things. It's a lot of other things if depending on how you come into this country. And I think that with the same thing when we talk about this jab, people want to frame it as, oh, you want to ask a question about the jab? You don't think they should be mandated? Everyone should be mandated to take the jab? You must be anti-vax. Same thing with the border. Oh, you have any criticism at all of how people enter this country? You must be anti-immigration, because it always gets framed by the opponents in that way, because they realize they can't actually argue with you. They have nothing to argue with other than label you as something. You must be anti-jab. You must be anti-immigration. You must be an ist. You must be a phobe. Because that is all that they have. They don't have any arguments.
Oof, this is getting personal.
It's true. It is. I mean, it kind of, again, I talked about this on Friday Night Tights, 2 weeks ago. But like I said, this all started out for a lot of us with Hollywood movies, Last Jedi, being called a racist and a sexist because you didn't like a damn movie. And those same people that decided, if you don't like a movie that I like, you are a racist and a sexist. Now we've moved into the point where if you don't get this thing that I think I need to get, if you don't get it, you are a danger to society. You are trying to kill me. And it's like, that type of mentality is so fucking weird. You know what I mean? Like,
well, even before that, it was like the transphobia.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like, where the heck? Where did that come from?
Yep.
Like, just out of the blue.
I want to ask, because I want to get to other questions before we get long in time, but I want to ask you guys, and I know we could spend all day on this, but I want to get into this. So, what issue, we talked about a lot of them on all of your different shows, what issue do you feel has contributed the most detrimentally to society? Is it the cancel culture? Is it woke culture? Are they all the same?
It's the same.
It's all part of the same thing.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? Whether we're talking about cancel culture, whether we're talking about identity politics and things like that infused into entertainment, it all stems from the same thing. You have these people that are in power. And when we say in power, I mean whether that's money, whether that's influence, whether it's because you're the person that gets to decide what's wrong think on social media or not. That is all part of the same problem. It is people that are ideologically driven, and they only have one ideology that they will allow. And that is the problem. So that's why it gets infused in entertainment. That's why social media is the way that it is, and is the cesspool that it is, because of the people in power thinking that only their opinions should matter, and all other opinions are a threat, so we will eliminate them.
Yeah. Silencing of people, silencing of opposing opinion. That's the true sign of someone that's terrified of the foundation of whatever they believe in. If you're confident in the foundation of what you believe in, then you're not intimidated by opposing opinions. And that's just what we continue to see. So when you get intimidated by that, when you show your insecurities of your own opinions, you are in fact proving that you have no confidence in what you're saying. That's why you don't want people to challenge. But yeah, woke culture, cancel culture, identity politics, all this, it's all one and the same, and it's all pushed by the same people that are losers in life, that haven't really accomplished anything and are looking to blame all of their problems on everyone else. And of course you have the mainstream in Hollywood that are so focused on trying to pander to people that are weak-minded, that they want to push that stuff. And you have people that aren't willing to do the research that'll just continue to repeat those talking points, which is like the NPC meme, NPC, a non-playable character in a video game. That playable character is only allowed to say what the computer has programmed it to say. That's it. And that's why we call these people NPCs, non-playable characters in the game of life. They can only repeat the talking points that the mainstream and Hollywood is willing to give them, and the only time they can do anything different is when they get an update. And they've been going through a lot of updates with certain Dr. Fauci, and they've been repeating a lot of stuff and then contradicting stuff and repeating and contradicting, and that's just what they do. And but I think that's all one and the same. All of that mentality, it's all one and the same. You can't separate that type of mentality.
I agree with you. I think it's very difficult to kind of start pulling those apart. But Jay, what do you see? Is there one? Are they all one and the same? Is there one that exceeds the others? If you could wave a hand and make one leave tomorrow.
I mean, the cancel culture thing has always been forefront. I agree. I think it's just all tied up in the same, because the same people. Jeremy's. I mean, if you follow Jeremy on Twitter, he's right about so many things. Like, there's an article that came out now that said the reason why, I believe, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, it said Black Widow was a failure because of the anti-jab people. Like, that was like floating around, and it's like, so now it's, first they would have said Black Widow was a failure because of misogynist men, or Black Widow was a failure because of white guys. Black Widow was a failure because, now it's like Black Widow was a failure because the anti-vax community. It's just, they just find one thing and they just hop around on whatever's popular to get to feel a sense of power. The cancellation of Gina Carano was big for them. It was a big win for that movement because they just were relentless. I mean, we have all the receipts, and then it's like the same people from the show that did almost the same thing. I mean, even Mark Hamill, it's like, well, if Mark Hamill went out and did that, are you going to erase Luke Skywalker from Star Wars now? Because just as bad, if you want to put it on the scale. Of course they're not going to do that. Of course they're not going to get rid of Pedro Pascal or anything like that. But and that opened the eyes to a lot of people as well. So I wanted to add to that, Ryan.
Yeah,
so.
I just wanted to say, like you said, it was a huge win for them, and it was a scalp, another scalp in the cancel culture war. But at the same time, I think it did way more damage to them because the support that she got, because people saw that on such a grand scale. They're like, really? Like, Disney fired her because of this? So I think even though it was a win for them in terms of they got this person off the show, yay, whatever. But I think it was a huge L overall for how we were able to reach so many people.
But it's always a big L when they cancel someone, because it's like, I mean, look, we were just talking about these hats, the Gina Carano inspired hats. Like, it broke the website because people want to show support and show love and just say, nah, that wasn't right. That wasn't right. And everybody, it's buying the T-shirt, wearing Geeks and Gamers stuff out. I mean, all that stuff. They're like, I want to be a part of this because cancel Jeremy. That was actually a real thing before it became a meme thing. People want every day. People want Geeks and Gamers shut down. Yeah. And not as a joke. Like, they just, they'll find old videos of Jeremy and like post them out there and just try.
I love The Last Jedi, and I think it did a damn good job.
Well, I mean, listen, there was one where you were in your car and they found a clip from like years ago, and they took that and they were just like,
what did I say?
It was something about women,
and they were talking about your family.
Oh yeah, when I was talking. No, that video where I was talking about how I objectify women.
Yeah,
they're like, doesn't he have children? Doesn't he have a wife? Like, all that stuff, and they were just like, we need to get him off the internet.
Well, I would like to clarify that, because that was a clip that was going around where I said I objectify women, and I just want to clarify that I absolutely objectify women. Fuck you.
Yeah, and that's the thing, and that's what you have to do. What we're seeing with the gentleman with the Star Wars store up in Aberdeen, Washington.
Absolutely.
When you stand up to this stuff, you have support. Gina Carano refused to sit down and bend the knee and apologize to these people for something she didn't need to apologize for. And the end of the day, yeah, she's gone from Star Wars now. She has received so much more support and has so many other things going on for her. When you stand up to the insanity, you're not alone. You know, sometimes it just takes a couple people to stand up because not everybody is in that position and not everybody maybe feels like they can take a stand like that. But when you do, when you refuse to, you know, bend the knee, when you double down on your true, genuine thoughts like you just saw from Jeremy here, people will support you. I promise you.
Yeah, true.
You know, yeah, I've said it 100 times. I mean, if you speak to a room of 1,000 people and you get 100 that will die on a cross for you and believe in what you're saying, I'd rather have those people than the people that kind of believe.
Yeah.
Or kind of want to support. And I think we look for that. And I don't think that's a profound thing to say. If we want to put people in our circle, in our life, we're going to look for that level of support. And I think we've gotten to a place where the real question to ask all you guys really is, you know, is media dead? What's left?
Well, I think mainstream media is dead, or at least is dying. And again, that's what I talked about on your show the other day, where when something's dying and it's on its last leg, it becomes desperate and starts doing whatever it can try to do to survive or to continue to hang on. And that's what we see CNN saying literally the dumbest shit imaginable, where you're like, they can't possibly get dumber, and then they get dumber. And they can say something even worse than they said before. And I think that traditional media is dying. I mean, it goes back to, you know, the whole PewDiePie thing when the Washington Post released that hit piece on him. And again, I was not a PewDiePie fan. I never watched him. And I watched him because of that hit piece, because I'm like, there's no way that things that they're saying about this guy can be true. And they weren't true. They were 100% lies. And it backfired on them completely. And you looked at it and go, why would they even do this? Well, they would do it because they realized that he is such a big personality and he has such a big platform and he's taking viewership away from them. Because why? Because they are lying and they're full of shit and people are tired of it. So they went after a big target, the biggest target in him. And that's a bigger example of what us, like people like us, are dealing with on a much smaller scale. You know, maybe we're not going to get the hit piece from the Washington Post like PewDiePie did, because obviously he's PewDiePie, but there are hit pieces out there about us on a much smaller scale, and you have to ask yourself, why do those things happen? Because the entities that are doing it are desperate to keep any life that they have left. And so I think that traditional media is 100% dying. It's not dead yet, but you turn off all of those CNN TVs at every airport, and I guarantee you that those ratings are going to look even worse, and they're already pretty fucking bad. You know, people just aren't watching CNN. People just don't actively go to CNN and watch it. You know what I mean? It's not something they do. So it is dying.
Yeah, I agree. We've talked about that a lot, and you can see it. The acceleration is, and the reason that it's getting more ridiculous is because they're desperate for attention. It's because they're desperate to cling on to the relevance, the small relevance that they still have. It's why they're trying to push into other aspects. We talked about the authoritative sources, how YouTube is promoting these news videos, how you could post them on CNN that, you know, maybe, let's see, in March of 2020 about the pandemic, about the coof, and somebody else could have been saying something that turned out to be accurate, turned out to be the exact right thing. It might have got labeled a conspiracy theory, but CNN is the authoritative source. Might not get any views, might get downvoted as shit, but they still do have that money and that power behind them to be able to do that. So we are coming to a point, it's turning. They realize they're dying. That is why they're scared. And I hope it continues.
I also agree with that on a social media level. I think what the governor of Florida did about social media and trying to make it more balanced, where you're allowed to sue. I think was that the law, Jeremy? Anyway.
With right. The thing that DeSantis signed
in.
So
now if the powers change in the government, they could be going after our social media, not our social media, but the people that run the social media. That's why
I think that's coming.
That's why you see the guy with the flag, the guy who owns Facebook. He's out there trying to be patriotic now.
Zuckerberg.
Zuckerberg riding the wave with the flag. It's like they might be like our time might be up if the
Yeah,
power
I think
changes.
I think they know that's coming.
We need to be ready.
It's because it's not handled the way it is. It's a private company. Yeah, it's true, but at the same time, if all these private companies get together on the same exact day and deplatform, say, Alex Jones, which is what happened, all these private companies, well, they can do what they want. Social media is the public square for all intents and purposes. That's what it is. That's standing on a corner and getting your message out there. With the amount of people, the access that everyone has, social media is a public square, and you need to allow all forms of thought and all forms of expression. And if you're not going to, at least be honest about it. I think that's everyone's big deal. You know what? If you were just going to put Twitter up there and be like, hey, this is for left-wing talking points, people, maybe they just wouldn't use it if they don't just want to hear that all day. But the problem is they're pretending, they're putting on this facade of, we love all thoughts. We love all freedom of everyone to express themselves, unless you're any conservative at all. Then we will deplatform you, and we will say, well, you just must be an ist or a phobe or whatever.
Yep. Yep.
Well
It's
said.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous, but it's happening, and we're calling it out. And I just see this report right here. Where did it go? Is literally just broke. Trying to find it. Looks like San Francisco. Yeah. San Francisco to require proof of COVID vaccine to enter restaurants, bars, and gyms.
There you go.
Becoming the first major U.S. city to do so.
Yeah.
And again, look, I am 100% supportive of you if you want to go get it. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with you if you don't. I'm fine with you making the best decision that's possible for you and your family. Just want to leave it at that,
Yeah. If you're someone who wants to get it, that's fine. The entire thing is the idea that people are tossed out in the street and canceled or made fun of or labeled as something because, you know what? I'm in my early 30s. I feel pretty fucking fit. I don't think that maybe this is worth doing for me. These athletes, we see with athletes all the time, and there's a big double standard right now going on in sports when, Kirk Cousins gets dragged over the coals because he said something about not wanting to get the jab, yet Lamar Jackson's already had the coof twice. No criticism for him because that's the traditional sports media. But you have these guys who are at the peak of physical fitness. There's virtually no risk when you look at these official numbers. We're not doctors. We're not telling you guys any medical, we're not giving you any medical advice. Go seek your own treatment. But that they are not the category that's in danger from this. But, we need to have them push this. They need to get the jab. It's ridiculous.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You both make excellent points. Now, where it goes from here, your guess is as good as mine. I do want to say to everybody, to your audience, thank you guys. You guys, as I said earlier, bestowed a lot of love on me, and I want to say to your audience, I appreciate you guys. Everybody that sent in super chats, you guys all know we'll find a way to kick those back in some way, shape, or form. We'll figure something out. Maybe tomorrow night. Who knows? Maybe we'll give some money away. Ryan's got some money in front of him.
I do.
Maybe we'll
I put one of these in my pocket, actually.
Yeah, so maybe we'll figure something out. We'll do something fun. I don't know, gentlemen, but in 90 minutes, we didn't solve the world's problems yet.
Nope.
We're still here. And the debate rages on. So to your audience and to everybody listening, I say this. Support. Whether it's taking 2 minutes right now to go like some of the videos spread out across the universe of all these guys, go do it. Leave a comment. Little thumbs up. Send a super chat. Every dollar is accounted for. I'm going to go back and read every single one of these. And I hope that everybody realizes we're never going to have all the answers. We can only hope to deliver the information that we have in the way that we see it.
The talking is what's important.
Right.
Conversation is what's important. Yeah, no one person's going to have the answer to everything. We're not going to solve the world's problems.
Nope.
And, we're not really trying to. We're just trying to get our message out there.
Yeah.
And by doing this and having open discussion, whether you disagree, whether you agree completely with one or the other of us, this is what's important. And this is what we're seeing as having a huge. We are getting a huge boost. We see you guys.
Yeah.
You see us.
I want to say that.
Love the conversation together, and that's the important thing.
So, I thank all you guys. I thank everybody for the input. As we wrap, I wanna thank Jay. Obviously, I mean it when I say it. I love you, man.
Thanks, man.
It's not the booze talking. Ryan.
Well, that's good.
Appreciate having you always. The energy is infectious, to say the least.
There you go. You got to wear your mask around me. You get infected.
And Jeremy, you know, it's always an honor having you and picking your brain. And I know that brain's always going. Every time I look over, he's looking at things. He's analyzing. Very methodical.
Nonstop, man.
I love it.
Nonstop.
And I love the energy. And just so everybody listening knows, we sat around, we debated everything. Debated fucking oxygen. These are good guys, and they got a good crew around them. Show them some love. I want to thank all the sponsors. Head over to www.johnbartoloshow.com and go support the sponsors. I want to thank a few of them now. BLK Water. We've been drinking it all weekend. It's good. It's black.
So have I.
Yeah. I want to thank Rhino Metals, Gallo Technologies, Blackwater Ammunition, Pulsar Thermal Imaging Technology, Right On Optics, Kenzie's Optics, everybody. Head over to WPSN, Warrior Poet Network. Subscribe. Use code Bartolo. Appreciate all you guys. Leave reviews. Everybody who's in here, if you go to iTunes and leave a review for the show, I'll be the happiest guy in the world. Leave a review. I don't want your super chat. Leave a review. I need a fucking review. Help me. Okay? And head over to some other videos and watch them and tap thumbs up and leave a review there too or whatever. Tell me what you think. I need feedback. Love you guys. I appreciate everyone. We're out.
Bye.